Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you find yourself in the world. Today we will be looking at Genesis chapter 25, verse 19 to 34. Genesis 19 to 21, this is the genealogy of Isaac, Abraham's son. Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah as his wife. Isaac, the son of God's promise, and his wife Rebekah, just like his mother, has not been able to conceive for years. And Isaac made a request of the Lord to intervene as he realized that this was a God-sized matter. This is a reliance that a few of us easily embrace and would opt to tend to exhaust all other options before we remember or surrender to the will of God. Yet, we all profess that every good thing we have is a gracious gift from God's loving hand, and Isaac recognized that, as he knew that if him and Rebekah are to have children, it can only be through God's yes to his prayers, and this shows us that their children were not born of natural or human decision, but that rather born of God's will. Genesis 22 continues to tell us that the children came of God's willing, wrestled in Rebekah's womb. And this made her weary to the extent that she had to go and inquire of the Lord that if the Lord has willed this, then why is it that her pregnancy is such a difficulty? And the Lord responded to her that not only are two nations in your womb, but that they shall be separated from her womb, and that one will be stronger than the other, and that the older shall serve the younger, which is peculiar, as usually one would think that twins are inseparable. And that since her pregnancy is of the Lord, why then will two nations come of her womb? It is so easy for us to often think that just because something is God ordained, that it shall come with peace only. But unfortunately, this isn't always the case. However, the Lord equips us for the journey ahead and strengthens us to press forward. The word clearly states that not only did the babies jolt each other within her, which simply means that there was a violent movement within her womb. The Lord continued to tell Rebekah that the younger, which we will know or often think of as the weaker, shall be served by the older, which we would think of as the stronger, which usually according to birth order should be the other way around, but that doesn't necessarily determine it. In the times of Isaac, however, firstborns always meant first in line for nearly everything. Genesis 22 to 28 continues to tell us that Rebekah gave birth and her sons came out, one red and hairy named Esau, and the other taking hold of the other's heel named Jacob. They grew up, and Isaac to be a skillful hunter, and Jacob regarded as a sly man who dwelt amongst the tents. Isaac loved Esau as he ate of his game, and Rebekah loved Jacob. And as siblings already divided in the womb, the text also tells us about a division in the parents' affection. Genesis 29 to 34 tells us about how Esau sold his birthright to Jacob. Jacob had prepared a meal, and Esau, who was famished and thirsty to the extent that he thought he would die, requested that Jacob serves him. Jacob saw an opportunity to swindle his brother of his birthright in this very moment in exchange for a meal. And desperately thinking that he will die, Esau without hesitation swore over his glorious future, as in the moment nothing else mattered, that he despised his birthright so much so that he surrendered it to Jacob at once. He ate and was on his way. This text reminds us how in pressing situations, we too are cornered by the situations of life into situations that would require of us to put down that which we know or what we believe, to dabble in other waters, or to fulfill our needs of the moment, not truly thinking matters through or negating the effects of our impulsive decisions going forward. However, what we can take from this text is that just because the Lord has willed something, it does not mean that it will not be without hardship or hassles, and that God can use anyone to work out his perfect plan and purpose, just like he did with Esau and Jacob. Thank you. Have a blessed Sunday.